Oh my gosh. So I was literally on Instagram yesterday and I was getting like 30 notifications from the 2024 team leader volunteer chat. And I didn't understand why, because hello, we're in 2025. And
Right.
it was all of them yelling at me, Red, run. The Mater Cars Crocs are in stock. And what did I do? I did not just buy a pair for my husband. I bought a pair for myself as well.
Heck yeah.
I was like, I need all the Cars things.
Yeah. Are you going to bring them to Sinners?
Oh, 100%. I'm literally just going to be running around being like, ka-chow, ka-chow, ka-chow.
See, and last year, because Kachow was such a big thing, I bought an outfit. And it's a like black and white checkered dress like romper thing. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't wear it because of the red volunteer shirt. Oh I was going to look like a racing flag. And I was all, that's a little too Kachow.
All right, you guys. So please welcome the ever so gorgeous, so lovely Devyn Sinclair is here.
Hello.
Hello. We are super stoked to have you. First of all, how do we find you on socials?
I'm pretty much like, I'm Devyn_Sinclair on Instagram, but pretty much everywhere else is not an underscore. There's nothing at that page, but they won't let me have it, so I'm not sure why. But so Rude. Mostly, if you just look at my my names, it's pretty much the same across all the socials, just at Devyn Sinclair, except for Instagram.
Oh, perfect. I love it because when Allison said rude, I was like, rude. That was really
fucking rude. I had that sound stuck in my head a couple of days ago, and I was just like walking around saying it, and then I realized I was doing that, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was obsessed with that movie as a child, so the fact that it is now a Broadway show, I'm like, I have the soundtrack downloaded already and I'm memorizing it.
But it's the fact that it's Megan Hilty. Like, I'm obsessed with her since Smash. So, like, my little heart of patter with Megan Hilty. I love her.
We didn't talk about this, but I'm a theater kid. I have multiple degrees in theater. Actually.
Shut your mouth.
No, yeah, I went to college for theater in undergrad and graduate school, so I am so far down the rabbit hole there.
Well, that's the funny thing is that we could talk about this forever, but I will bring up this one point. Allison was she's been going to shows with her mom since she was a kid. I have never been to a show ever. And I didn't even know what Wicked was except for the book. I didn't even know it went to Broadway. Oh. And so when the movie came out, I was like, okay, let me do some research. And I watched some things and, did all this. And then I finally saw the movie and I went to Allison and I was like, I get it. I get it now.
Yeah.
Now I'm mad that I didn't see Idina Menzel on Broadway.
I mean, I didn't see Idina Menzel either because that was a long time ago. But okay, random. We'll move on. But do you remember the Disney show Even Stevens?
Of course.
Yeah.
So when I went to New York for one of the first times, one of the first shows I ever saw was Beauty and the Beast, and the older sister, she was Belle when I saw it, and it was like so interesting. It was a little bit of a mental dissonance.
1999.
Oh wow, digging into the thing. No, I think it was a little bit. I think it was early aughts.
Okay,
like 2003 maybe.
Yeah, middle school. I went for my 8th grade Washington D.C. trip, and we also went to New York City, and we also saw Beauty and the Beast.
Nice,
as our play.
Nice.
So.
Wow, y'all fancy. See, I still haven't been to a show yet, but I'm gonna eventually.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
All right, you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump right in. So we'll start out with the question we ask everybody first. What genres do you rate?
I write a lot of genres, and in general, I tell people that I write more categorically than I do genre because my books are all reverse harem waichus, but I do multiple genres within that. So I'm probably best known for Omegaverse. That's what I'm famous for, and put that in quotes. But I've done paranormal and fantasy, and I have some contemporary stuff that's going to be coming down the pipeline. I would love to write a sci-fi. Sci-fi doesn't really seem to do that well in my genre, but I would love to do that at some point. But yeah, no, a little bit of everything.
Aww. Well, I will be honest with you. I read my very first Omegaverse book, and it was Elizabeth Knight. We talked about this in the last episode with her. I had no idea.
Which one? She has several.
I watched Not All Is or read Not All Is Lost.
Got it. Okay.
And I didn't know what a knot was. Had no clue. I was like, but wait, there's the twig and berries. What is that? Is that like an inner tube? Like
I literally had a dildo with a knot on my desk earlier today, and it's in the other room. I would go get it because I'm on an Omegaverse panel at Babe in this coming week.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody asked for an anatomy lesson, and I was like, I got it. So,
so
I ordered a brand new one with a knot from Amazon, so it's like fresh, it's not used or anything like that.
Oh my God, please bring it to Sinners so that I can hold it and do a story for the Instagram. Like,
Sure.
it would be fantastic.
Yeah, sure. We'll
like,
do
not
it.
for my page, but oh my
No,
God.
yeah, I got you.
But
Just
for
the
the Sinners page, that would
Yeah,
be great.
no, that'll be great. That'll be great.
Instagram's just
I had to
banning me.
explain to her. I had to explain to her at work what it was.
Yeah.
And she just turned bright red.
I have a video
At
that
the concept
I can email you
of a
or
knot?
DM it to you. I have a video. She videotaped me after she told me what it was. And I am
my
laying on our shampoo bowl, just crying, laughing, bright red, like so embarrassed because I did not put 2 and 2 together.
It's not like a. I don't want to use the word normal, but it's not like a thing that you would naturally think of with that. So I don't really. It makes sense. But the way I usually describe Omegaverse to people who are new to the genre is like the base framework for me is the instincts and hierarchy of a wolf pack in non-shifting humans.
Yes.
There's a lot more nuance than that, but
inner tube.
or a banana and a donut.
There you go.
Visually makes sense. Makes sense.
Just slide it right on there.
Oh my gosh. I love that we're on this track of like conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what inspired you to become an author and explore all of these genres?
I was thinking about this question when you guys sent me the question, and I was like really trying to think because this is a hard. It wasn't one thing, which is like, it's my story is one of those stories where it's like looking back at it, you can see that I was always going to end up here, but you wouldn't have said that as I was navigating those choices. So I was always a really bookish kid, and I loved reading and all of that. And when I was in middle school, high school, I started writing with friends, like the way you're like, let's write a book, like that kind of thing. And then I continued doing that through college as like stress relief, but it wasn't serious. And then when theater fizzled out, because I realized I do not have the temperament to walk into a room every day for the rest of my life and be judged purely on how I look, I was like, I'm done. At middle of graduate school, I realized that I was having more fun online with my bookish friends than I was having in my classes. And I was like, that's an interesting thing. So I, back in the day, I was a big YA book blogger back in the day, before I was Devyn Sinclair. But yeah, no, I took a right turn from theater and went into publishing, and I thought I wanted to be an agent. And so I did that for a little while. And then I got a ghostwriting job after I exited that. And so I kind of trained on ghostwriting. I ghostwrote from 2016 to 2022. So I did write stuff for myself during that time, but I wrote 70 odd ghost books, so I really kind of cut my teeth in that way. And yeah, for as far as like how I got to this genre, I was just kind of trying to find a niche that I liked. And in 2019, when I started writing as Devyn Sinclair, I had just seen RH kind of coming up, and I was like, that's fascinating to me, because I've always been like, I'm kinky, I'm weird, I've always liked the idea of group sex. It's just like, and so I was like, that sounds like fun, I'm gonna try it. And then I was like, yeah, this is for me. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome though, because everybody has a different lane that they end up in, like I was not supposed to be a hairdresser. That was not supposed to be my role. Like, I was 100% supposed to be a teacher in high school. Like, I was going to follow my parents' footsteps. My mom would always say, like, you played in hair and makeup, like, all throughout high school. Why don't you go to hair school? And that's kind of where I ended. But, no, I think everyone's journey's different. And how you end up...
We never know how it's going to turn out. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I agree. 100%. So when it comes to, like, because you talk about how you have a lot of different genres that you write and all that kind of stuff, what book or series has been extremely emotionally challenging? Like, which one has been, like, the hardest to write?
Not including the book I'm writing right fucking now. It's like this book that I'm writing is like wrestling a feral alligator. It's been wild. But I do have a rule for myself because I came up through ghostwriting. I actually have a rule for myself that I will not write anything that I don't enjoy. So like where I tend to fall is like, okay, the Venn diagram of what do I enjoy and then what does the market want? Where do those overlap? And that's where I usually write. So emotionally challenging. Probably the book that I put out last year called Priceless was probably the most emotionally challenging book that I wrote because it centers around a plus size character and it really goes hardcore into how fat phobia can affect your mental space. And while it is not in any way my own experience, it does utilize a lot of my experience in writing that book. And it was rough because you're really diving into like pain, you know what I mean? Like that's been over the thing, but I wanted to write a book so people would like people who were like me to feel what I felt like over time. So yeah, that was probably the most emotionally challenging.
Well, you're talking to some thicky baddies right now.
That's
Allison
right.
and I both, we thick. We thicker than a snicker. Straight up. You know, but I think it's important to talk about that stuff, you know, like
Yeah.
I was bullied.
Yeah.
I was bullied in every grade up until I graduated high school, you know, like it's people who are not, I always talk about this, like I'm to each their own. You skinny, you mini, you mid, you thick, you plus, whatever. You're beautiful in my mind. But if you've never been plus size, if you've never had the challenge of not being able to walk into a store and buy clothing in any store, that is a challenge that not a lot of people really understand. Like,
And there were three kind of categories of reader with that book. There was the majority, thankfully, of people like, oh my God, I've never read a book that really put myself, like, I see myself in this book, which is really always really gratifying. Then there were some, like a smaller subsection of the plus size community that was like, why are you so focused on this in your head? Nobody's actually that focused on their weight in their head. And to that I cheekily say, congratulations on having a support system.
right? I was like,
And then there were the straight size people who were either like, they're broad spectrum. But yeah, it was interesting to see how kind of people divided themselves along those lines and how some experience is so universal and some is not.
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and representation matters. Like,
Yes.
for everything, you know, like the more that people get to see themselves in books, TV, film, the more the experience becomes universal. The more that people who don't experience these things get to understand, and we all kind of get a little bit more kindness for each other from that.
We think about things differently, right? So it is an Omegaverse, this book, right? And it's marriage of convenience. So they get to, in this particular world of my Omegaverse, Omegas can't scent match outside of heat, but alphas can, so that guys know, but she doesn't. And so they saw, like, and this was so important because when they find out during the heat, they've been loving on this beautiful plus size woman and they're so obsessed with her. But the minute she finds out that they're a scent match, it's devastating because to her, it's only biology. So I made sure to put in the book that they saw her before they scented her. So they could tell her.
That's so huge. Oh my God. This is this can get really deep really quick. But
right.
we're trying to keep it lighthearted here, people. But when you have, like, for me, I've never said this on a public platform. I've said this to Allison. I've said this to my best friends. There is such thing as men who literally only go for the plus size girls behind closed doors. You know what I mean? It's not as common now. I feel like being plus size and mid size and being a little bit thicker is totally okay nowadays compared to 10 to 20
in the 90s.
years ago.
Yeah.
And like I had this guy who asked me on a date who was a bodybuilder. He was gorgeous. I was like, oh, you want me? But then he refused to go out in public. You know what I mean?
The gym rats love plus size girls though because a
Love
lot of the
them.
gym
I
rats
think it's 'cause they
are
like the squishy.
previously plus size guys who are like they get it. But yeah, no, at that moment in particular, like there were several moments like that in the book where I was like, if this was happening to me in real life, knowing my experience, that would devastate me because everything that I thought was real would no longer be real. So I was like, I have to make sure this stays real for her because otherwise, what's the point of the fucking book, right?
No, I applaud you for saying it though. I do.
Yeah. It's a powerful kind of scene right there, like having the fact that it's not just, you know, biology overriding their actual feelings for her, and that their feelings for her
exactly
were there
exactly
prior
so
to
they have that
biology.
moment of like, who the fuck is that across the room, and then
Right.
they're on a balcony, she's down there, so there's no correlation. They cannot center, like they're physically too far apart to do that. So then they go down and they say, and then they're like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Love it. Which scene, or have you had any scenes that fans have messaged you about? And did you expect that kind of reaction of these scenes? Scenes that they've just been like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that.
You mean like in a bad way or a good way?
Either.
Okay.
I mean, have you had people say something bad?
I know, I was gonna say, I'm like, let's just go good.
haters
Let's
bye-bye.
go good.
Haters say that.
Oh, well, always. I mean, there's always a gamut of stuff. But probably the meet cute scene in Not Your Damn Omega, which is a scene where the main character, Esme, is at a party with her sister. She did not eat beforehand. And she is really hungry.
That is my
and
favorite moment in that book. I've read your
Yeah,
book.
that's the one. She smells cupcakes across the room and goes across the room, runs into a guy.
And he is a
and,
hot tattoo artist.
Yeah. And it's him. It's not the cupcakes. It's him. That's the smell. So that's probably the moment.
Waiting for the right moment to tell you that I read this book, and like, it was so good. It was literally, I told Allison I finished it in 48 hours. It was so good because it's a tattoo artist Omegaverse. It's like you reached into my brain and was like, how can I make Omegaverse good for you? Oh, let's throw in some celebrities. Let's throw in a rock band. Let's throw in twins. Let's throw in tattoo artists.
Like, this is why it's funny, is because I wrote, it's going to make it sound like I don't love that book. I truly do love that book, but I wrote it kind of as a joke. And in the fact that, meaning that I wrote it as a result of shitposting in a group chat.
Yes.
Because another one of my friends was writing an Omegaverse, and they're like, Devyn, you should try this. And I was like, I don't really know if it's for me. I had read a couple of them, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to write it or not. And they're like, no, we think you'd be good at it. And then I don't remember what sparked it, but I had the cupcake idea. And I was like, wouldn't it be fucking funny if she did this? And they were like, write that right now. And so I did, and I never expected that book to become what it has become.
It's so good though, and it's
thank you.
What I love about it the most, and I'm not gonna even lie, I hate bitchy FMCs, like the ones that are like bitch, like not bitchy like mean, but like whiny. Like I don't like whiny FMCs. But the way that you made her vulnerable and the reasons why she was vulnerable, that made a lot of sense to me and hit me hard at home because we talked about being plus size. My little sister, only 2 years apart, is a $120 at 5'4", and she's always been skinny. So like when some of her friends would want to hang out with me, it wasn't because I was the skinny sister, you know? So it's like when you have these twin sisters who one is super famous and everyone's calling her the cheap knockoff, you know, it related to me. I really loved it.
Well, and speaking of scenes that readers talk about, that's an element that commonly people talk to me about. The vulnerability and the self-esteem aspect of the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the men in that book, oh, God,
who's your favorite?
So good. Luke.
Oh, I love that you said that because Luke's also like if I was gonna like pick one for myself IRL, I'd probably pick Luke, but he doesn't get picked
Luke
a lot
is
because
a
it's usually
baddie.
Kate is usually the one that gets picked.
Well, because Kate is like I'm the bad one. Like, like that's so standard, but I like Luke. Because Luke's a sleeper. You don't think he's going to be the way he is, and then he just creeps up into your brain.
If you wanna know the bad scene that people talk to me from that, it's the primal one. Everybody loves it, except for the amount of bad reviews that I got for having him fuck her in the ass first.
Yeah, I could see that. Like,
I'll never do it again because
like, for people that don't do in the booty, or I guess I could say anal. It doesn't really fucking matter. But like for people that don't like that in books or whatever, like the whole thing is you make it very clear, and you and Elizabeth, because those are only two Omegaverse books I've read,
right?
Constantly talk about how I am biologically okay with this. This feels good. I feel full. My body opens up to him because, again, in the world of Omega, and again, I'm new to this, so don't quote me on this, but, their bodies literally accept alphas. Like, they accept betas. Like, they are, every orifice spreads a little wider as part of their biology, and that's okay.
And also, as much as we would love to believe that everybody has perfect sexual hygiene,
yeah,
people don't.
People do. And the fact they're in a nest for days at a time, how often do they shower? We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they can fuck in the shower.
So, but no, I think it's really important that, you know, people who have written you, good or bad, like that book was really good. I loved it, you know, and I told Allison about it. I was like, you need to read this tattoo artist. It's amazing. But like, even down to the name of the tattoo shop, I loved. You know what I mean?
Nautilus.
Like, Nautilus. Yeah, like, I loved it. I thought it was cool. Like, because when you think of old school tattoos, especially old school American tattoos, the anchor is, you know, a big part of that. So I love that you also did your research on types of tattoo artists. Like, I was like, oh, she did her research, you know, like, and because a lot of people were like, oh, you do watercolor? Why don't you do this other kind? I'm like, no, you gotta
I do.
specialize in those
It doesn't matter the book. I research obsessively. So like, for Priceless, the plus size book, she's a florist, and I had this idea that, and it's the second book in an internet-connected standalone, so I knew this from book one. She specializes in florography, which is Victorian flower language. And I was like, I had this idea. I always do interesting formatting. So every chapter has a vintage botanical illustration of a plant that the symbology relates to the chapter. And so, like, I had a massive spreadsheet of all these, like, flowers and stuff like that. And then my last book is a Formula One Omegaverse. And I'm a huge fan of Formula One, but I still had to do a huge amount of research to write that sport accurately.
Yeah. But that's really cool that you put in that effort because, you know, especially for someone like me, I don't know anything about Formula One. So, like, if I read that, it would be a lot easier for me to understand if it was explained, you know?
There's a glossary. Don't worry. There's a glossary.
Well, and it just helps your readers get into your world that you're in, you know, and having the little flowers in the like at the beginning of the chapters, that's just like a little Easter egg for them to like piece that world all together. That's beautiful.
So, okay, so I love this question. This is one of our newer questions that we added, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to ask her this. What's something your characters would absolutely roast you for if they found out that you were their author?
This is the question that I went to Elizabeth with because I was like, I don't know what the fuck to say to this. And I don't think you asked her this question because her answer was indicated that like she
did not
think. So the first thing I thought of was that like I live alone and therefore I eat things out of the bag probably more than I should.
Girl dinner.
But the one that Elizabeth reminded me of is that. And she's fine with this. She cannot drink a drink if it changes from the temperature it's supposed to be. So if you get an iced coffee and it warms up, she can't drink it. Or if she gets a hot chocolate and it cools down, she can't drink it. But I do not give a shit. I will leave an open Monster can on my desk and pick it up the next day and start drinking it, and it drives her insane.
Same.
And so I'm like, so I guess I'll say that. I don't know. But I mean, they'd probably just be like,
I love it though. Your
weird.
answer was perfect though. Like that's because we all have our weird things that we do that people are like, why do you do that? Like, for instance, Allison loves the smell of coffee. Like, she loves it when I make coffee. It's my kryptonite.
Fair.
But she cannot drink it. She cannot drink it.
I'm not a big... Same. I love the smell of coffee, but I'm a tea person all the way, as you can see from my stuff back here.
She's a monster girly. Like, but it's specific monsters because of what happened on her birthday a couple years ago.
Oh my gosh. This was the sweetest thing, but like, I felt like such a shithead. So her and her former business partner, they bought me like 30 plus monsters, and they were the regular black and green monsters.
Oh.
And I prefer the ultras.
Sugar-free?
So like, I like the white and the rosa. Yeah. And they bought me so many, and I was like so thankful because it's such a sweet gesture. And like, they covered my station at work with it. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I'm like,
and then she waited. She did wait like until Dorothy left, and then she was like, "Red, I don't drink that kind." I'm like, "Fuck."
There was a time in my life where sugar-free Monster was more in my body than blood was, but then I started taking Adderall, and they were like, "You need to stop that," and I was like, "Heard, okay."
So, but yeah, I appreciated the gesture. It was a beautiful gesture.
Have you guys seen that meme that's like in Discord screenshot where somebody's asking somebody like, "Hey, what monsters are a good flavor?" And they're like, "What do you mean? They're cum? They're cocks?" And they're like, "The drink." It occasionally pops up in some of the romance groups as like, hey, give me books with this vibe, and it makes me laugh every time.
Oh,
I want that on a t-shirt. Like, and I'll wear it to Sinners.
Oh my gosh, you should make stickers. You should make stickers of that.
Yes.
I'll try to find it and send you guys the
I'll
thing.
literally put it right here on my hot pink hydro.
I'll put it right next to strawberry shortcake. Right.
That'll be a very chaotic mug.
So, Devyn, what do you like to do when you're not writing?
Well, obviously, I'm a big reader. But I'm also a huge gamer. I'm a big gamer. I'm currently playing Death Stranding, which is a wild fever dream of a fucking game. It's a few years old now, but I'm also we spoke on before we started recording about how I have a history in theater. I also have a history in costume design. So I'm working on a t-shirt quilt right now as
That's so cool.
my little sewing project. But yeah, no, I'm a big gamer. I've my PS5 gets a lot of work.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, because my husband games, but he only plays one game, and it's Call of Duty. And so I tried to play. I died in 6 seconds, and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
I'm not an FPS player or first-person shooter. I don't play first-person shooter.
Okay, so so Allison and I, the only gaming we do is the Oculus. Like, we work out on there. Like, the Supernatural, like the boxing.
Okay, nice.
Well, little known fact, I actually am a big video game fan, and I've played them my whole life. I have taken a break recently, and I don't even get to use my Oculus anymore because my kids hijacked it from me. So,
I'm a
retired gamer.
My favorite game of all time is a game called Hollow Knight, if you've ever heard of it. Ooh. It's a Metroidvania platformer, combat-based platformer, and it's like a little kingdom of bugs, actually. But the story is lovely, and the art is stunningly beautiful. And it's kind of like a cult favorite a little bit. There's like a very passionate community about it, and there should be a sequel coming out this year, hopefully, because they've been telling us it's been coming out for 7 years, and we're really hopeful. But
with that, because again, everybody plays video games. Some people don't. Some people are like, meh, whatever. But these questions are getting so much better and better. I'm obsessed with them. So which of your books would not pass the Meet the Parents test? I feel like
now, like we just mean like, would you let your parents read it? Is that the test?
Like which book would you not let your parents read?
Oh, absolutely none of them. In fact, until this past Christmas, my parents had no idea who I was.
Shut up.
My mother still doesn't know, and if any of you listeners tell her, I'm flipping off the camera. No, I come from a very conservative family, and I come from a very religious family, and it just wasn't something that I really felt I needed to burden them with, because I've already disappointed them in other ways, so we didn't need to add this. But a couple years ago, I went to them and I kind of was like, hey, I've kind of been lying about what I've been doing and how famous I am. Or how, because I went to Australia 2 years ago. I'm about to leave for Australia. And I basically said that I was Elizabeth's assistant. And I wasn't. And so I came back, I was like, hey, I was lying. I will tell you my pen name, but this is not an opportunity to critique, and this is not an opportunity for you to try to convince me to do something else. So if you can do those things, then I will tell you my pen name. If you can't, I won't. My mother didn't want to know. My dad did want to know, so I told neither of them. And he's a little sneak, and he figured it out somehow. And so I confronted him at Christmas. I sidled up to him. I was like, I hear you're finding out things you shouldn't know. And he was like, maybe.
Maybe.
So,
well, and that's the thing is that it's. I mean, my husband knows. He calls it my fairy porn, but I've gotten so far past that now.
Yeah, beyond
that. And but I asked him the other day. I was like, "Do you want to read one of these books and see what?" He's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm
dude.
Good. I'm good."
Legitimately though, men who are not reading romance books are doing themselves a huge disservice.
Oh my God, I know.
And it's not because the fairy porn thing, I feel like that gets thrown around a lot, and it's and Not that it was used in this context this way, but I feel like it's just a way of belittling the genre and being like, oh, well, you're just reading porn. I'm like, no, I'm not, actually, because, like, for example, the Formula One book, she's a woman in a male-dominated field. That book is a huge examination of sexism in the workplace, on top of romance. And then, like, the plus... So, romance gets a bad rap, but it's actually, like... It's so good for it's a place created by women and for women where you can have anything, including unhealthy fantasies. It's the only place where you get to explore those in a safe way. So the fact that it gets tossed aside so easily is annoying.
And the thing is that, like, obviously he doesn't mean it in a demeaning way, but like some people do, and it's the thing is, for me, people ask me why I like reading, like what makes you want to read as much as you do. And me and Allison both have like a 45-minute drive, so we audiobook everything. And and by the way, your book on audio, so good.
Did you listen to Not Your Damn Omega on audio? So you got Aiden's voice.
Oh god, hello Aiden,
he's great.
So anyways, but no, I can see how it can be considered derogatory, because for me, why I love to read is I want to disappear in a world. I want to act like I am literally their shadow in this world. I am watching their lives unfold, and it pulls me out of my stressful, chaotic life to the point where I can actually just stop thinking about my stressors and get involved in a story that brings me out of my stressors, and I think about it when I get out of my car. I'm like, oh, how many times I've sat in my driveway for like 30 or 40 minutes and I'm like, I have to go into my house. Like, know what I mean?
But speaking of the stressors, like, a thing that I get a lot when I talk to non-authors or non-romance people is like, oh, but it's always a happy ending. Isn't that, like, boring? And I have to explain that that's not a bug, it's a feature. Like, that's, like you said, knowing that it's going to end well allows you to come out of your anxiety. And allows you to sink into it, because no matter what bad thing happens, you know it's going to be okay.
What's something you wish you knew when you started your author journey?
Oh, wow. There's so much. I think probably how important the shift in mentality is from hobby to profession. Because as soon as you cross that line from being, this is something I do to fun, to this is my job, it completely changes your relationship with that work. And, like, people will fully disagree with me on this, but I am of the opinion that your hobby cannot be your job. They are not the same thing. And so, like, while I do love my job, like, I would never want to do anything else, it is not my hobby. Gaming is my hobby. Sewing is my hobby. Reading is my hobby. This is my job. And I treat it as a job. Not every author does that. That is 100% your own choice. But it's the way that it makes sense for me. So, but the radical shift in how you have to treat the work and your own internal motivation for doing the work is a big shift.
I know that Red and I both have that kind of same opinion. We've worked with people where doing hair was a hobby to them, and you can lose motivation real quick or drive for something. And it, once you lose that kind of passion for your actual career, because you've just been like, oh, well, I'll just do it when I feel like it, or I'll just, I'm not going to come in today. I'm not going to do that. And you stop showing up in that kind of like career driven manner, things start to fall off, and they start to fall off real fast.
There are as many ways to do an author career as there are people. There is no right answer to that, right? Like, and having a writing career as a hobby is 100% valid if you want to do it that way. But often those people have other jobs that they do. They do it on the side. Maybe their goal is to switch over to being full-time. Some people never want to, though. You know what I mean? Some people really prefer having the stability of a 9-to-5 and then, like, writing on the side. And that's cool. You just got to figure out what's right for you, but you have to acknowledge that when you start making money from anything, it changes your relationship with the thing.
Yeah. I think that's so well spoken. I think that's important for people to know.
Because also turning a hobby into a career can suck the joy and life out of it. So it's like finding that balance is so important.
Yeah. 100%.
No, definitely. So Of all of your characters, which one of your characters would you call to help you hide a body?
So because I write RH, it's going to be a group of the guys from one of the books.
Of course.
But 100%, I have a book called Skyla, which is a book about a Fae motorcycle club. And they are one percenters, meaning they are not good people. And so they would 100% disappear a body. They disappear many bodies in the book, in that book. That's also the kinkiest book that I have, by far.
Ooh, the kinkiest? Not the kinkiest.
Like, yes, no. there's cages, there's consensual drug somnophilia, there's a kidnap CNC scene, there's primal, there's there's a lot. There's a lot in there. Oh, there's also a sadist.
Machine.
There's also a sadist who has dacrophilia, which is being aroused by somebody crying. So there's that.
Okay.
Here for it.
It was originally a part of a
bag.
shared world. Then everybody who was in the shared world has a different species that is their MC. So I was Faye. Elizabeth is in it. Hers is a large cat one. Our friend Kira Stanley did genies, I think, or sirens. One of us did genies. Yeah. So Sinclair Kelly did genies. But yeah, no, it's really fun. It's really fun. I love that book.
That's so cool.
That is.
Yeah.
All right, my dear. Well, this is our final question that we asked to everyone because we're so excited that you are going to be at Sinners and Stardust coming in August. What are you most looking forward to for Sinners and Stardust 2025?
So Nocturnal Ink is doing a special edition of Not Your Damn Omega specifically for Sinners and Stardust.
I saw it.
And I haven't seen it in physical person yet because it's not hasn't fully been printed yet, and I don't know if I'm gonna get to see it before the event, so I'm really super stoked to that. And I also know that a lot of people are super stoked for that edition, so I'm just kind of did you pre-order?
No, because we're not gonna talk about this. Allison,
Okay.
What happens?
So Red is not good at doing pre-orders, but she will send either myself or another minion to your table, and I will make it rain.
They won't be at my
I
table.
literally
Just to be
am
clear,
bringing
they
it
won't
so-
be at my table. They'll be with nothing.
Okay, then I will go to that table and I will get it. But I'll
then
also
she'll
come
bring it
yours
back
just
to you to
make it
sign
rain.
it because basically last year I forgot I pre-ordered until literally Katie, one of our influencers, came up to me. She's like, "Red, did you pre-order anything?" And this was maybe 20 minutes before the end of the signing, and I was like, "I totally did." So I'm not allowed to pre-order anymore.
You got to have a Google Doc or a Google spreadsheet that tracks them for you.
I don't know how to use those things. I'm told what to do, not how to do.
Okay, but listen, I was in the merch room and quite literally people were coming up with binders and flipping them open and had everybody's their receipts, they had maps printed out and they were highlighting it off. They came to the merch room to get their pre-orders and I was like, you're more organized than I am right now.
Some of the reasons God love them. Some of them they go hard at the signings and it's incredible, really. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, though, we always like to just ask, and you can totally say no. And if you do say no, then I just cut this part out and no one ever sees it. But is there any other things that you want to tell us that you have coming up that you would want to get people excited about?
Well, since we're recording this before, but it will be released after. So the thing that I was telling you about before, I am launching an art-based Patreon for my books. So it will have various tiers that include, the lowest tier will include the art, and then as you move up, it's Zoom calls with me, and then also quarterly prints that would get sent to you. And I'm hoping to launch that mid-June. I just wanted to get a few months ahead in terms of art. So every month would be one SFW piece and one NSFW piece. So you get 2 a month. Maybe in the future, if it does well enough, I can up that amount. But I'm really excited, and I have some fun. The art piece that I showed you that nobody else is going to get to see earlier, that's why I had that commissioned.
That's so
amazing.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's amazing, though, because I love, last year in our swag bags, we had a little cosmetic bag that had all of the NSFW in it. And I did not realize that's what we did. And so when I opened it, I just went, ooh, ooh, ooh. I was really excited about it.
I can show you I can show you an SFW one because I think I will have this revealed by the time the podcast goes out, and it is a cast photo of Not Your Damn Omega. So I figured you'd want to see it.
Yeah, I want to see it.
So this is from.
Oh
if you
my God,
remember,
I'm obsessed. If you guys are listening and not watching, you need to watch so you can see this artwork. It's so good.
So if you're listening and not watching, this is a illustration from the scene after the nightgown scene. If you remember the nightgown scene,
yes.
So you can see that
silky,
she's in the nightgown, and this is when they're like on the couch eating Thai food.
I love it.
Yeah, and I love Rylan just chowing down on the Thai food, which is great. And because Rylan has another food moment in that book that makes me laugh, where he bites into a cupcake and he's like, "Yeah, I think it's good," and like Luke's like kicking him, like, "What are you doing? Like, stop talking with your mouth full."
But it's the relationship
such a good
with
one.
all of those men. Like, you can tell they've known each other for a really long time. And the ones that may not have been in the group for a really long time, they just welcome them so easily and so openly.
That's what I was going to mention. I'm so sorry. I was going to mention that earlier. I don't write MM in my books. It's not for any other reason except for I just prefer everything to be about the woman. But I also really cherish the opportunity to write intimate, platonic male relationships.
Yeah.
Because
and I think
we don't see that represented that often.
Luke and Cade's relationship I really loved. But I was waiting for the MM. I'm not going to lie to you. I was waiting for it because coming off of other ones where it was like that, coming off of Elizabeth's, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, it's not there. But it's not like I was missing it or mad or happy about it because you made it such like a, I know it's going to sound horrible and please don't hate me for saying this, but it was like, bro, I love you, dude.
No, that's fine.
Like,
and they do have a very bro quality, whereas like in my most recent book, the Formula One book, the pack, they are very like, they're a newer pack, but they vibe, but they don't have the same kind of bro energy. But I really like writing the intimate platonic male friendships because we don't get to see that often.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No. Well, Devyn, you were a freaking gem. This was so much fun. Like, and I love how outgoing you are. It's awesome because me and Allison are both really outgoing. And I can tell
it's all a
we
lie.
all talk over each other.
Yeah, that's the ADHD though.
It's so good. All right, you guys. So make sure you guys check out all of Devyn's socials and make sure that you guys go check her out at Sinners and Stardust in Boston in August. Yeah. And make sure you guys tune into the Dark Collective podcast. Every other Monday, we might sneak in some other episodes in there at 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 p.m. Eastern. Allison, send us off.
See you later, you little deviants. We love ya.
Bye, guys.